They're the examples of how people perceive Tassie.
So John wants that pedestrian TV article so he can add it into his appraisal packs.
It's safe as houses, baby.
You can buy here. You don't have to worry. There's
We'll start with like these photos of Mad Max. This is what's happening elsewhere. But Tassie, sunshine lollipops.
Here's Furios.
Going once, going twice, sold. You're listening to The Property Pod.
It's a golden week, it's a golden time, it's a golden time to be alive. I'm your host, Aaron Horn, and you're listening to the Olympic version of The Property Pod, a real estate podcast that loves the Olympics so much and never has the same intro ever again.
We're always mixing it up. That's why keeping it on the edge all the time.
How's that, Pat? You happy with that?
That was a silver medal performance.
Silver medal. You thought last week's was better. Last week's was on the fly. I did lie in bed thinking, how am I going to mix it up this week? I'm like, we got good responses. We had Tom from Sydney. He reached out and said, gold, gold, gold. So he enjoyed it. So I thought, I'll just throw it out to him again.
I love it.
Gold, gold, gold. How are we travelling? How's things?
Good.
Good?
I think the market's once again just kicked into another gear. It seems super active this week.
It does, yeah. We were kind of having a sales meeting Monday morning and everyone was saying, I've got this coming along, got this coming along. You've had some really good response just this last week to like 3 brand new listings that are just going gangbusters, John.
Yeah, it's been a couple of really late nights of negotiation. One of the buyers had did the thing where they set a time frame. So my offer is available for X, like this will be available. So we said, well, okay, if you want to set this time frame, this is what we'll do. And he was surprised when he hadn't heard from me by 6:30 at night. And he goes, well, I would never expect that the owner would be working this late. It's like, well, obviously you haven't worked with our team before because, the latest negotiated till 1 a.m. in the morning if we have to.
For sure.
But it's just obviously people are doing whatever they can to try and secure a property, either prior to going the weekend or, effectively trying to make ways in which they can strengthen their position. And if people haven't heard of it before, sometimes people will say, look, here's an offer. It's valid for 48 hours, which is perfectly fine. So then we just work with those people at that time. And if we can get a deal together, then we do.
So they're trying to do that to remove competition.
That's right, yeah.
So rather than it going to Saturday's open home and having, 10 people fighting for the place, they're trying to put in a strong offer and knock everyone out of the park.
Yeah, and obviously they're trying to add that little bit to get a little bit back in control, which, buyers certainly don't have at the moment because it's been such a strong sellers market.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm never in the negotiation process, but I can always just imagine, somebody's throwing out this massive number and you're being like, take it to them straight away. And you're like, oh no, I've already discussed with them that they want to go to the open home. It's like, no, my number is very important.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I said to the buyers because
Oh, you said to them. That's a tactic I use.
That's all I do when people call up. Can I make an offer? Sorry?
Sound like the Tas Devil. Then.
Yeah. And then I come bounding over. We'll stop. But
we're very professional. Yeah.
But when actually at the end when I was chatting with my client, he said, "Oh, John, geez, you keep your cards close to your chest." And I thought, well, I find when we're in negotiation, I think that's probably why I'm tired because it's been a really intense few days. Is because when there's an active negotiation, like my mind is just on the whole time, and it wasn't until we finally signed off and everything at about 7:30 last night that I was like, okay, this is a great result.
I'm not sure if we can talk about it on the pod, like the actual specifics of the place and stuff, but using broad terms, it was quite a unique opportunity, a rare one that comes up. So there was lots of...
it was a development opportunity. And with that, though, it was a mixed because given its location, we saw it could work 2 ways, whether or not you'd have this really beautiful home. The house was... bit rough, but it was a lot of land in in the northern suburbs in central, so someone might look at it to go, you know what, I've got this really awesome parcel of land that I could do a heap with or we could effectively then, because it's in a residential zoning, develop it. Now, in this case, the strongest buyer was a developer, which we always anticipated. However, it still did have that other option as well. And look, the reality is that much land in this section just doesn't. There's very few and far between because these are these old farmhouses that have been around 100 plus years,
and everything's kind of popped up around it. There's modern buildings all around it, and then you're just kind of like, oh, how's this really bizarre parcel? Is that still there? It's just there, hardly been touched since like the 1920s or something like that. And it's just like, oh, that's only 3 streets away from main road area.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Nice broad terms.
Thank you very much. Well, I was pretty happy with that.
Main road area.
I thought that was good.
Yeah. Well, the good thing is now this is a timeless story as well. So.
It's just like that moment in time where your head, just the light bulb went off. He's like, I can't say that.
But it was an interesting one because most of the time, 9 times out of 10, the properties that we'll move through will always go over the course of the week. Even if it was, I got taught this when we were doing auction, where always go to auction because you never know.
Yep.
But every now and again, there will be an opportunity that comes up where we can encourage the owners to say, you know what, it is actually worth us strongly considering this, and this is what they chose to do. Because normally we'll always go over the course of the weekend, close off interest at 5 p.m. on the Monday night, so people have got time for their solicitors to look over the contract, etc., and then make a decision that evening. But yeah, we moved ahead early this time around.
And just putting it out there, this is just an approach that you take with your listing sort of thing. It's not a right or wrong way. I know from getting your marketing materials ready that if it's Thursday, I've still got a few days to get everything together because Monday's going to be launch day. We're going to run it through this period of time, whereas other people are happy to kind of, in this modern age of information straight away, we'll just launch it on your Thursday. Hopefully it's gone by Friday afternoon and then you don't have to do the open home on Saturday.
Yeah, that's right. But like
speaking in broad terms.
Well, it was like young Aaron and I, we signed up a listing last night, and like we said to the clients, look, we're not afraid to work. And because obviously if that means at the end of the day, we recognise that we want the best result for the owner. If that means we have to do another 5 days worth of work and 25 private inspections, we'll do it. If it really means that little bit of a difference at the end. And obviously that, even though you could sell it within the first 5 minutes, that'd certainly be in our best interest because it means we can stop working. But, it proves time and time again that by investing that extra time produces a better result.
And you love it.
Yeah.
You love the grind. You love getting in there and making your phone calls. And I could see that you've got this, another one in Lindisfarne, another one in Moona. You've got another one coming up at Downstairs Point. Like you've got lots that's just about to come through. Yeah. You can kind of see the energy bubbling up in John and just being like, I'm going to talk to lots of people. Yeah. I'm going to have the best time doing it.
The phone keeps running out of battery like by 4 o'clock in the afternoon at the moment. And
here's a tip, you might need a new one, John.
Yeah, I know. This the Samsung's been run a bit low.
I met a guy in Vegas that, was like one of the promoters, and in his jacket he had one of those charger things for his phone, like the portable ones. And I was like, oh man, how long does that take to run it? Oh, like 2 hours. I've got like 4 phones I'm running. And he had 5 different little of those charging things all over him. I was like, you must be on fire, mate. Like, so much energy just coming off you.
How the heck do you even make that work?
Mate, he was just making deals left, right and centre, just hitting all those phones.
That's next level.
Yeah. I'll get you into this club, man. I'll take you to this club. You can come.
Well, one thing that we do like about working a little bit harder is it still provides the buyers an opportunity. And I think in that instance, in these tough markets where they're finding it exceptionally hard, we're trying to give that opportunity to as many people as we can within the limited time frame. And, and that sometimes giving them an experience, even if they miss out, I think it's a really important part that us agents can play. And it's, I think it's worthwhile spending the extra hours. And as you said, we love it.
Mate, it's beaming off you at the moment.
Looking at just the result that you've had there, John, it sort of brings me back to an article that came out this week from CoreLogic in regards to how the Hobart marketplace was going. Did you see that one?
Yeah. That was insane because it gave a perspective across the country as well, didn't it?
Yeah, so the key takeaway from it is that Hobart over the last 12 months has just exploded in price value again. I think they had it worked out at $130,000 extra growth, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's like nearly 30% or $400 a day or something.
Which is just ridiculous when you think about it.
Can you explain that to me? What do you mean by $400 a day? Like the property is gaining $400 worth of value every day.
Yeah. So the idea being is that from the median increasing to I think now to close to 631, Hobart, like southern Tasmania or Hobart, the way they value capital cities. So that time 12 months ago is that if you owned a property, you're basically it was increasing by $400 a day in total value.
Pat's just showed me his phone. He's done a little quick math for me. So 400 times 365 days
was $146,000 worth of growth in a 12-month period. So, that's just crazy to think that properties can rise that fast.
So
Well, and that's the point. I guess it's been incredibly difficult exciting on one side, but difficult on the other. Like one of the things that the article goes on to say, because I'm sure you get it too, Pat. They'll go, "What do you think's going to do?" And I always say, "Well, look, that's for opinion for people much smarter than me."
Speaking of people smarter than us, there was a Simon Presley article I read the other day, basically saying like everyone doom and gloom. But I'm back, baby.
Yeah.
Like I called it. I was like, "Yes, Simon."
I think we need to get him because
He's got plenty of time at the moment. He's probably in lockdown. So Simon, if you're listening, we'll catch you on next week.
I suppose in the spirit of the Olympics, we could bring him on for a victory lap.
Oh, I like that. We could get him a gold medal.
Yeah, exactly.
With little Brisbane Lions.
Yeah.
We'll work on that this week.
Well, and then with that, then of course they're always asking the economists where do they think it's going, but it does sit there to say is that demand or growth may temper off, in the idea that it's good, like as the values increase too much, it really just completely puts first home buyers out of the market,
which is the sad part about it.
Absolutely,
but there are still, I think, even with the incredible price growth of the Hobart area, there are still suburbs I think that are still within reach of some first-home buyers.
Yeah, and good value too.
Yeah, so look, some that are really showcasing some strength at the moment are Sorrel, Brighton and Claremont at the moment. So they seem to be the ones that are really ticking along quite nicely as well.
Yeah.
Have you sort of got an opinion on those areas, John?
Claremont was my first unit. That's where I bought my first place, and you think about as a little, small little city in the Glenorchy municipality. It's great. It's you've got the Cadbury's factory. There is sports grounds up there. I think you've got a lot of really basic services.
There is sports grounds up there, I think.
Yeah, well, we've got the footy oval up. Well, I never used the tennis courts even when I lived across the road from it.
There's the golf club.
Yeah, there's the golf club.
Bowls.
Yeah.
So 6 footy ovals, a frisbee course. What do you want?
Get it. Come on.
I think they're there.
But it's one of those ones where locals always had a bad rap against it, but it's just gone.
I think it's actually, as you mentioned, all three of those suburbs. I think it's one of those things that like gentrification's kind of come through, and what used to be, I've mentioned on the podcast before, I was never allowed to go to parties at New Norfolk. It was just a blanket rule.
Yeah.
If there's a party in year 8 or 9. Was that New Norfolk? I wasn't going.
Right.
Just based on the old idea of people from that area.
Yep.
I was there last Thursday with my son. We went and had this cake at the Cake Lady on the main road. I had the best time in New Norfolk. I thought, what I was missing out.
Yeah.
Everyone was walking around. It was beautiful.
You got 3 breweries there. You got a whiskey distillery there.
It was crazy.
Lots of cool stuff up there now.
Yeah, so I was down in the valley and I was just like, oh, I really like what's going on down here.
Yeah.
Looking at those 3 suburbs, Claremont, I grew up in Claremont. Yeah, there were some streets you shouldn't go down, but most of the time you were pretty safe. Brighton, I remember, we talked about the sports oval last year. I remember going out there, it was freezing and there was some ruffians.
I think Sorrel and Brighton have also grown because of the development aspect out there. Both those 2 areas are one of the few areas that have actually got space to grow.
Yeah,
like for new developments, new subdivisions, where everywhere else is sort of capped out unless you find a little golden opportunity like John sold earlier this week. But, that's why I think those 2 suburbs have become more appealing because, a lot of younger people love the idea of a new home and to be able to build a new home that's affordable, you got to go to places like that.
Well, it's because the land's flat, so
too expensive in town.
Yeah, 100%.
Like for a block of land in northern suburbs these days, you're up around 380, 400,000, and that's just for a block of land.
The parcel of land before you even get to start your build.
That's just getting ridiculous with how expensive it is to buy land in Tasmania. So that's where these outer suburbs have become very popular and why they've had the growth that they've had over the time.
Yeah, and I suppose anyone who's obviously lived in central Sydney and New South Wales would understand and Melbourne, the peripheral suburbs are where, those growth opportunities and the affordability is. In Hobart, I guess for us that lived here our whole lives, we've always just had it so good. So everything's always been so close. So the idea being that you have to move out 30 minutes was just inconceivable. What I see though is I think everybody's long on Tasmania now. It's that... It's past its point where everyone knows it, everyone wants a part of it, and it's got all the stuff to back it up. The produce, I'd say the forecast job opportunities, even if they may not be available today. I think as it continuously becomes harder and harder to get access to, or they want more of it, so will entrepreneurs bring opportunity with them as well.
John, I pivoted our show away from one of the articles I was going to bring up today, but I'm pivoting us back.
Oh, sorry.
No, this is perfect.
In other words, he wasn't interested.
No. What you've just said leads perfectly into the other article that I was going to bring up. So you've always talked about your doomsday prepper friend from America who wanted to move to Tasmania.
Bought the block.
Bought the block of Blushy Creek. Yeah.
Yep. All right. So an article came out. There was a sustainability report which was published in like a scientific paper. Like I went to look at this paper in the sustainability thing, and it was one of those ones where you can't even read 3 lines because it's referenced everywhere and all the scientific terms. But turns out Tassie is one of the top 5 places to survive a full global collapse.
Oh, you're kidding me.
So hello, Hobart.
No way.
Yes.
Hey, that guy was forward thinking. He was ahead of his time.
He was onto it, and
Just didn't buy enough land.
No, apparently not. Yeah.
So of the top 5, it is the UK, Iceland, Ireland, the southern island of New Zealand, and us.
Wow.
So one of the key features was that it was a controllable border. There was that you had to be able to produce your own produce. You were close to another major population, but you weren't the key part of the population.
Right.
That there was actually a really cool bit in it. I've got to find it here. It said, in fact, the research determined that New Zealand, and let's say Tassie, would be the best place to form a node of persisting complexity. And then it put in regular terms, read, a society similar to what we have now. So without turning full Mad Max or going crazy, we have the most.
It would still be able to.
We could sustain a life similar to what we have now without it being too out there.
No way.
Imagine the rest of Australia, everyone's on Mad Max trucks going across the desert, fighting for every last speck of water, and we're just sitting there.
Yeah.
It is somewhat kind of like what's happening at the moment with COVID. Like they're still saying like, oh, if it gets here, like in a really bad thing, we'll have to do snap lockdowns. But we haven't really had to deal with it way too much. So we have been lucky to live in our non-Mad Max style lifestyle.
Funny.
Right? But it was funny because it came through. It actually, here's another bit I really liked. It said a period which they have called the Great Acceleration. So rather than like the Great Depression or all these other eras, we're in the Great Acceleration based on like population growth and how much energy we're required to live.
Right.
All of this stuff's growing and growing and growing. But here in Tassie, we're all good.
We're all good.
Ireland, UK, Iceland, all of our listeners in Iceland, you guys are doing all right as well.
Yeah, there you go.
So I just wanted to pivot back. Sorry, we were talking stats and interesting things.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's, to me, then, when people ask, what do you think's going to happen? Well, they're the examples of how people perceive Tassie.
So John wants that pedestrian TV article so he can add it into his appraisal packs.
It's safe as houses, baby.
You can buy here. You don't have to worry. There's
we'll start with like these photos of Mad Max. This is what's happening elsewhere. But Tassie, Sunshine Lollipop.
Here's Furiosa. She's standing there. It's like, oh, Charlize Theron lives here.
Yeah. Well, this is, if you stay in Melbourne, this is inevitability, baby.
5 years tops.
Yep. So Sorrel, Claremont, Brighton. They're not wastelands.
No, they're
a haven.
They're a haven. Unreal. Well, that is surreal because I mean, think about it. There was no one would ever speak about the way they do about Tasmania now 15 years ago when we started. You know, it's just changed. And I think the locals are passionate about the state too. And
most definitely. Just in other news this week, the Taste of Tasmania Festival was gone. Looks like it's coming back in the form of Taste of Summer.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so first time it'll be a ticketed event ever, but yeah, a group have got together of people and put enough fund in to get it going. Tas government will put in a little bit of money, but yeah, looks like it will be back over New Year's just with a new name and a new little facelift. So
yeah, cool. Well, that's
good for the state.
Well, that's good for Dad too because he always has the biggest birthday of the year. So because it's the 30th of December, and because he'll always just say, "Oh, look, meet me down with the rest of the people. I'm throwing my birthday bash down at the wharf, so I'll be there. And if you want to catch up with me, you know where to find me."
I really like that. Mark Stewart used to call my dad the mayor of the Taste because he'd just go and stand in a spot, and everyone would come up to him and just say, "Steve, how are you?"
Oh, man, he was good at that.
He was good at the Taste.
Like
so.
he nearly taped off his own little square. He just stood there and charged $5 to come say hello.
People thought it was Santa just on his holidays after he's had a big week delivering presents. And they're like, "Oh, Santa's here. He's having a beer." It's like, "Oh no, it's Steve Horn."
Why didn't I get that bloody gift? All right, so we're going to wrap up, I think.
I think we will wrap up there. Just to finish off the show today, Dry July finished last week, and just a massive shout out to everybody that got involved across the month of July. The 414 Clearheads team, which Martin Evans put together, has raised over $3,500
That's awesome.
for cancer research. So
awesome.
a cause that is very close to a lot of us here at the Property Pod.
Yeah.
Something, that it's really, really impressive that I think we had a humble beginning of let's try and raise $1,000. Let's try and raise $1,000 and see what it does.
Yeah.
Everyone got behind it. It was amazing that everyone came and supported. Your dad alone, Chris McGregor, raised over 1,000 just off his own bat. So
Yeah.
I think that's because nobody believed he could go 30 days.
And I heard him talking to Nino yesterday. He was saying how much he enjoyed. So we're putting a blog post together about how it all went.
Yeah.
He was saying he enjoyed himself and he felt clearer. He lost a few kilos. So shout out
There
to
you
Chris.
go. He's living proof that it
Best
does
month
make
of his
a
life.
difference.
And shout out to Nino as well. Do you know that Nino joined in and did Dry July as well?
You informed me
Oh,
yesterday.
did he really?
Yeah, so he was an unofficial member. He didn't let us know until after it was done, but he said, I did it too. And it was
mate, good on you, Nino.
that's a nice
Yeah.
little way of having him as a team member. Just,
I
so
love that.
shout out to that.
Yeah.
So
Fantastic.
thank you to everybody that did get involved in Dry July.
And contributed too.
Yeah, very much appreciated. And to a really, really, really good cause.
Yeah, for sure.
Fantastic.
All right, guys, that is the Property Pod. I think we've got a massive month ahead. I think as spring's about to kick into gear, everything seems to ramp up.
Yeah.
I think things are about to really ramp up. I can't believe our houses are worth $400 more every day.
I know.
I'm just going to go tell Sarah. I'm just like, honey, we're making bank.
Get onto eBay. Go for it, honey.
Buy some stuff.
Bye. All right, guys, that is a golden episode of The Golden Show, the Property Pod. We'll see you next week.
See you guys.
All right. You've been listening to The Property Pod, recorded and edited by 414 Media House in conjunction with 414 Property Co.
This podcast is general information only, and the thoughts and views expressed is the opinion of our panel, and listeners should always seek then use their own investigation into any topic we discuss to ensure they fully understand their own situation.
It does not constitute and should not be relied on as purchasing, selling, financial or investment advice or recommendations, express or implied, and it should not be used as an invitation to take up any agent or investment services. No investment decision or activity should be undertaken on the basis of